Today I'm going to clean a glass balustrade. Now, the obvious difficulty with cleaning glass balustrades is that I can easily clean the inside, but the outside is a problem. I'm 7 stories up. I'm a domestic window cleaner, so I'm not going to abseil. I'm not going to use a cherry picker. But that doesn't stop me. That won't stop me from cleaning the outside. There are just a few little tricks which I'll show you. As long as you don't do anything silly, and there's no need to do anything silly. There's no chance at all that I will anything bad will happen. I mean, I did once lose a pair of sunglasses over a balustrade, so I'm not wearing my sunglasses, even though the sun keeps appearing every few minutes. Of course, it's easier to do this without being in the sun, so I better get cracking. Just going to use my basic tools, but the one thing that's to clean the outside, the one additional sort of technique, there's no additional tool, but the one additional technique, since I won't be able to reach down all the way with my hands, I'm going to use a pole, and I've wrapped some fine grade steel wool around the pole. So with that, I can make sure the bottom part of it gets a good scrub, because being a glass balustrade, that it is much more exposed because it's further out from the walls of the building. It is more exposed to the wet when it rains, and it's much more likely to pick up hard water stains. So the best way to remove hard water stains is, in my experience, is using fine grade or super fine grade steel wool. So I'll get started now and give you a slightly better view of where I'm going to start, and let's see how we go. Okay, so I hope you noticed all that. You probably didn't notice me dunking this into my bucket, so I made sure this was all wet, and I used this to reach the bottom section that I couldn't reach with my hands. And then I was able to squeegee all the way down by the use of this, because this is the sort of the design of squeegee where you can put different length channels on. I was able to, in fact, I've even got a larger one, which I don't even need to use today. I was able to reach the bottom of the outside of the balustrade with a 40 centimetre channel, because I can actually slide the squeegee holder up and down the channel, so effectively increase how far down I can reach with this squeegee. So you probably noticed me doing that. I'll do it again on the second one. Oh, another thing is, at the end, I actually put some, so I could dry the edge on the outside. I wrapped a towel on the opposite end of my pole, a dry towel, so that I could dry the edges that I couldn't reach with my hands. I didn't want to take this off because I don't want to sort of take it on and put it on, back on and off all the time. So we'll do the second one. In fact, I'll keep this wet. So I'm using steel wool there, and here's another piece of steel wool on the end of a pole. Okay, squeegee. Okay, and I want to dry the edges. As before, I'll wrap this around again, and I want this to be as dry as, well, I want it to be dry actually. So that's come off, but that's no problem. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean the inside of the two that I've cleaned on the outside. Just those two. I don't need the pole for that. Okay, now, after you go through the basic process of, scrubbing, wetting and scrubbing with your washer, using your steel wool to get hard stains off, squeegeeing to get the water off and leave the window dry, the last step is just looking for any touch-ups, anything that still shows up. There is one little touch-up required. Now, for touch-ups, the best thing is just have a little dry piece of steel wool in your pocket. Being dry, it's not going to re-wet the window. It's not going to make you go over the whole process again. And all I can see here is one little tiny touch-up. I was able to reach that, reaching over. Had I not been able to reach it leaning over, I would have had the option of putting a dry piece, wrapping a big dry piece of steel wool around here. And sometimes you can reach from the bottom if the thing that, the little mark that needs touching up is at the bottom of the balustrade on the outside, you should be able to reach up underneath with your steel wool. Using the method I have just shown, I was able to remove very severe hard water stains from these balustrade panels. Thank you very much for watching.